a pleasure and an honor to have Arthur Jafa here in OGR. It has been a conversation that started 3 years ago, so we are happy to finally have the exhibition set in the space. Arthur, or AJ as they call him, is the perfect fit, we think, for OGR, because OGR is a place where different disciplines meet, and he's coming from a background mostly in film production, but also direction and photography, and of course music. So the interaction with the music world was something that we were really interested in, because our exhibition space is literally next to a big concert hall, and they are just separated by a thin glass wall. And so we like when there's some sort of contaminations of different fields. And he is the perfect person for that, because he's mixing really different references coming from music to cinema to personal life, and I think he has a really fresh view on how to work with images, and that's why, even if he came late to the art world in a way, he's bringing, I would say, a small revolution in the way we look at images and how they work together. So he has collected images since the 80s, and he has nurtured this vocabulary of images that now are what you can see in the works. So in OGR is showing a couple of works. One is the latest video, Agidra, and the other one are a series of wallpaper prints of these images. And of course the two nurture each other and in a way invite people to reflect on what the big sea that you see at the end of the exhibition actually is about.
Hi, I'm Claude Adjil, one of the curators of the Arthur Jafa exhibition that's opening today here at OGR, which is a collaboration between OGR and Serpentine. We're presenting for the first time in Italy his latest video work, Agidra, which is an 85-minute video that takes the visitor on this voyage at sea that was sort of inspired by a trip that the artist Jafa had taken to Japan with his son before the pandemic, and his son had asked him to go see the film Godzilla, and the artist was thinking about the idea of sort of the experience of the Japanese people having been the only people that had experienced the atomic bomb, and this idea of sort of being enveloped by the sea. So the footage, which is 85 minutes long, is of an undulating wave that sort of at various points it feels like the viewer can be sort of submerged in the sea. And this is quite a stark departure from the artist's previous video work, which features a lot of found footage. And in this work, all figures are removed, and it's a total abstract experience of this undulating wave that at once sort of feels like it's sort of very, almost it's like the underworld sort of erupting, very volcanic, very sort of rough, that's accompanied by a soundtrack that Jafa has sort of edited himself, of taking music, R&B music from the 70s and 80s that he's reworked and sort of slowed down and speed up at different points, that takes the visitor on this sort of very sort of motion-like voyage into this sea-like scape that molds between sort of the sun setting, but then sort of black and white footage of being at the sea, where you have this sort of sick feeling that you're sort of going to be washed over or sort of swallowed by the land. And as I said, this is sort of in contrast to the previous video works that the artist is celebrated for, like Love is the Message or The White Album, which won the Golden Lion at the Venice Biennale in 2019, of where we see the sort of very impressive, fast-paced editing style of the artist. And now this is sort of a pivot of moving into abstraction and almost sort of a painterly-like, Cézanne-esque, one could say, landscape. And accompanying this video work, we're also featuring this architectural structure that houses different prints and wallpapers of sort of famous musicians that the artist is interested in and sort of celebrating, of these kind of key figures in music from the 80s, as well as sort of other images of artists like Jean-Michel Basquiat, who sort of play a pivotal role in the sort of influence and inspirations of the artist.
News regarding our program, it's not announced yet, but we will work for sure again on topics relating to the contemporary world, mostly looking at how the digital world, big data, predictive analytics is changing the way we live, and the power dynamics that goes with that. So we are working on that for a big exhibition, and we are continuing our collaboration with Castello di Rivoli, which is one of the main museums in Italy, just outside of Torino, and their collection will be once again showcased in OGR for a new show.